My wife and I tried to raise first just a good person, right, and not a an athlete.
You didn't put the football in the cradle? No?
No, we didn't put the football in the cradle. If we put anything in the cradle, it was a book, or nowadays it'd be an iPad or something for the kids to grow up with. But and I think ultimately to be successful, you have to be well-rounded. If you look at a guy like Peyton, people consider Peyton Manning a well-rounded guy who has interest, outside of football, but inside of the sport is a great competitor. So I think Andrew's a pretty well-rounded guy.
Indeed, even Peyton Manning doesn't hold a degree in architectural design from Stanford Engineering, but Andrew's academic passions and athletic interests developed hand in hand.
I love stadiums and arenas and baseball parks and coliseums, or what name you. I think that's sort of why I got interested in architecture. Was as a kid, going around with my father, who worked for NFL Europe, to all these great, stadiums in Europe, whether it was the Allianz Arena in Munich or the great Manchester United, Old Trafford, all those neat stadiums.
We traveled to all the NFL Europe games. We'd watch a lot of soccer, and he saw all sorts of venues, from the small ones that were built back in the 20s and 30s, pre-war, to the brand new ones that were being put up for various World Cups over there. So I think that really piqued his interest.
Weigh in on kind of the concept of building a stadium today. It's important you reach fans and amenities, but you also have as many events as possible.
Well, I think it has to be a widespread arc when you're building a stadium. You have to have the ability to make it a basketball arena and maybe cut it in half, and sight lines are so important. You have to, I think, cater to a lot of people, and you don't want to build a generic run-of-the-mill stadium. Everybody seems to want the new next best thing.
Nothing is generic or run-of-the-mill for Andrew the student. His intellectual curiosity extends to the business he's about to enter.
George Foster and Roger Noll, great professors at the GSB, the Stanford Graduate School of Business. They open up a couple spots in their sports management and sports business classes for some of the football guys. So I'm definitely interested in taking one of their classes and learning about it. And I've heard from a lot of guys, guys my age that have taken it in the years past, and they've learned a lot, and very interesting. Brings a lot of great guys in it.
Assess how he will be as a businessman.
That's a very interesting question, because I think very often athletes, the longer you play, particularly this is the case, the more removed you can get from the hurly-burly business world, the daily give and take. And I tried to give him a real sense as I was going through my different career stops, if you will, in the sports business, whether it was with NFL Europe or with MLS or running the Stadium Authority in Houston, or now with an intercollegiate athletic department to call my own. I think he's got sort of natural humility, but also natural leadership skills. When he walks into a group, he can take charge and take command. I think ultimately he'll be a pretty good businessman. He has a good read on people.
The NFL's new collective bargaining agreement includes a cap on rookie contracts. And 2 years ago, quarterback Sam Bradford got a 6-year, $78 million deal as the #1 overall draft pick. Last year's #1 quarterback Cam Newton got 4 years and $22 million.
He'll earn less money than Sam Bradford did, of course, but he'll still earn plenty of money and shouldn't have any material worries about his future.
Are you admitting that you were a failure as a parent by not having Andrew 2 years earlier?
Timing is everything.
Yeah.
I feel very blessed to be in the situation I am now. It's a great opportunity, and I'm not going to complain about something, because hopefully I just want to be paid to play football, and that'd be enough for me.
Andrew Luck will certainly be picked to play football, and very likely with the first selection in the draft, and he's well positioned to parlay that success into endorsement deals and business opportunities. And as you might imagine, the Lucks do have a strategy for that. Coming up, the making of Brand Luck, a young athlete's next big challenge.
I'm not perfect by any means. I go out and I do some stupid things every now and then, with my friends.
I think he's going to be in a position to do a lot of different things. It all comes down to how much he wants to do off the field.
More with Andrew and Oliver Luck straight ahead on Sportfolio. Welcome back to Sportfolio. Andrew Luck has marketers as well as scouts bullish on his prospects at the professional level. Part of his appeal, he's genuinely determined to stay genuine.
What is the IPO that is Andrew Luck? What's the brand look like? How would you sell yourself?
Oh, I don't know. As an NCAA student athlete, I stay away from from trying to sell myself or make money on myself.
He's proven that already. Luck could have turned professional a year ago, but chose to return to Stanford University for his senior season. He readily admits it may not have been the best business decision.
It was more of an emotional decision. And to be honest, it wasn't too hard to make it. You know, I felt very comfortable coming back. I wanted to sort of prolong having to grow up for another year. I was enjoying college, enjoying my teammates, and wanted to finish up and get the degree. So it was more of an emotional decision.
And you had 4 million people giving you advice, I'm sure, on what to do. But what was the best bit of advice you actually got about that decision?
Probably from my dad. He said, to be honest, do what you want to do. As simple as that. And do what you're not going to lose sleep over. And that's what I did.
Strictly on business terms, I think it's debatable. But I think at the end of the day, for a quarterback, there's never a downside to staying an extra year. He had a good offensive line. We weren't worried about him getting beat up, in his last college season. We took out a nice permanent disability insurance policy through the NCAA, so he was, his downside was covered there as well. But ultimately, I think walking away with another BCS Bowl and walking away with a Stanford degree, a degree from their School of Engineering, ultimately probably is a better financial decision than just having come out and even if he had been the #1 pick last year.
And now there's no turning back.
He's considered to be one of these can't-miss prospects, and of course there's also the risk of failure involved with that. But that's in every businessman's vocabulary. We wanted to do. I think Will want to do it right, do it properly. I think, quite honestly, the Stanford brand, and he's really represented that brand very well the past 3-4 years, will help him. It all comes down to how much he wants to do off the field. And my inclination is that you should kind of take the first couple of years very carefully and quietly, and then once you establish yourself as a player and you develop that professional credibility as a player, then you can kind of dip your toe in and do some more things to generate additional revenue.
That is, as long as you don't do the wrong things. So what do you want the brand to stand for?
What do I want the brand to stand for? Just try a positive image, do the right thing. Stay out of trouble and stay out of the negative, sort of headlines. I'm not perfect by any means. I go out and I do some stupid things every now and then, with my friends, and it's almost a click away from a phone camera for you be on the internet, doing something stupid forever, I guess.
If Andrew Luck fulfills his athletic potential and keeps his image clean, his earning power will be staggering. Quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning have each made over $100 million in salary and endorsements in their playing careers. And as the example of Johnny Unitas shows, a quarterback's brand value can endure for decades. But Luck may have advantages even those icons didn't have.
Going to school in Silicon Valley, it's great. I've been to talks where all these great entrepreneurs, great, venture capitalists, and they're all around, the area. So listening to them talk, and I'm sure I'll be able to go back once I start playing, on the next level and get some great advice from guys there.
There's so many connections there with all the electrical engineers and all the algorithms that have been developed, and going back, 30, 40 years to Hewlett-Packard. It's a fairly impressive place, and I'm sure he walks away not just with that great football knowledge, but I think with a feel that maybe you only get out there for the entrepreneurial culture that exists. He knows general partners at Kleiner Perkins and all the VC companies and folks at Google and Yahoo and all this. So he has great opportunities, and he will have some money that he can play with some of those some of those companies and some of those startup ideas. But I think as you look at him now and analyze him, not just his on-the-field stuff but his off-the-field stuff, I think he has plenty of opportunities, and it's a matter of taking advantage of those.
Oliver Luck sees his son not just as the heir to Jim Plunkett and John Elway, but to Dave Packard and Larry Page. And that's two pretty good traditions. So if Andrew Luck were an IPO, would he be an unqualified buy?